Okay, I think I got it. I love technology when it works. So today we are here to raise awareness about missing and murdered Indigenous relatives, to make sure that our names, our faces, our stories aren't forgotten. We are here to make sure that our legislators and our policymakers don't forget about us. We are here to make sure that we are not forgotten and that we are visible on every piece of land that we step on. Because every piece of land, no matter where we are, is Indigenous land. This is our land. So this past year, we were really fortunate to connect with some musical performers through rugby music. And I'm going to ask the performers, Miko Blaze and Louis Blaze, to join us. And they created a really beautiful song called Protect Them. And we have a music video that they created, which was amazing and beautiful. And we have been sharing and will continue to share. But we asked them to come today and to perform their song live. This is the first time that they're performing this live, so we are super excited to share this with you all. And please, we will share this on our social media, and please push it out all over. I'm going to turn it over to you all. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the process that you went through in writing this song.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really happy to be here. I'm Miko Blaze. This is
I Blaze.
Yeah, so with this song, I actually remember it took a whole weekend to write this song because there was so much emotion wrapped around it. I remember Kyle, who's our manager, gave me a book from your organization, and I read it, and I was in tears because my mother's a survivor, my sister's a survivor, and so am I. And I remember just taking this and just knowing that I needed to say something that was important for their sake. And so it took me a whole weekend to really put the right words to something as big and as important as this was.
Yeah, I too most definitely had a lot of heavy emotions with putting together the lyrics for this song. When the team reached out to me, I just first and foremost felt honored and privileged to be able to, be selected to share this God-given talent, and more importantly, to continue to highlight the significant messages that need to be heard. I believe as an artist, we have a duty and a responsibility to use our talent as a to spread love, to spread awareness, and make sure that we are really doing what it takes to protect humanity and nature. I didn't just for the song and start writing. I had to be much more intentional, and I went back to learn more about the awareness, dove into YouTube interviews, learned more about the organization, and that study, that information, that history, right, is really what gave me the energy that was needed to fulfill this message. So I just want to commend you all for the amazing work that you're doing, for the tradition, for the history, and for remaining loyal to the soil and true to the roots. So I just want to say I am honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's do this.
That's right.
Oh, we gotta turn it up a little bit.
Turn it up. Can we make some noise for our lovely sound lady right here? Come on now. There we go. Get some energy going. We got the drum. I love it.
I mean, if you hear a drum beat, feel free, because there is a drum there.
Okay, someone might have to help me with this.
Is it all the way up?
On your phone?
Yeah, it is.
I was just gonna try to help a little bit.
Alright, where's my sound?
Okay, this might be it.
I mean, I hear it, but it's just a little low.
It looks like that's the highest the volume goes.
Yeah, maybe we can just
Acapella?
I'll just get real close and see if the drum can back us up. It's just a very simple. You can kind of hear it. Yeah. Just. Okay. Restart it for me.
Okay, ready?
Ready? It weighs heavy in her heart, generations on her shoulder. She kept quiet too long. She's tired of being walked over. Her nation's unseen. She's calling out. Believe her. She's not just a picture of the past. She survived all of that. We have to protect her. She's not just the past. She survived all of that. We have to protect her. She's your mother. She's your sister. She's your daughter. She's your lover. She's your mother. She's your sister. She's your daughter.
Listen. She been working for hours, nurturing every flower down in the garden of paradise, just sacrificing for our well-being and life, producing life and keeping power, generating for generations. We nothing without her. Too many stories untold and too many stories untold. I searched around and I learned the cold hard truth as it unfolds. I feel an ache in my spirit, praying and hoping and wishing her living conditions could get some attention. I listen so she's not alone.
She's not just a picture of the past. No. She survived all of that.
She survived.
We have to protect her.
We have to.
She's not just a picture of the past. She survived all of that. We have to protect her.
Protect them.
Protect them.
Peace and love. Thank you so much for having us.
Wow. So we have played that many times for our staff, and I cry every single time. So why didn't I think to grab Kleenex? That was powerful, beautiful, amazing. I hope you all share it. We will continue to share it on our page. There is, like I said, there's a music video, so we will be sharing that as well. So please, let's share that. Yeah, it was beautiful. And the book that they're referring to is called the Burette Project book. And some of you who have been around MUSAC for a long time know we had a Burette Project where we had survivors that submitted their stories and along with a beaded barrette. And we took those stories and we made them into a book. And we've used it for public awareness and just to share the stories of our relatives who have been affected and victimized by sexual violence. And so we shared that book. We shared that book with them as a way to ground them in what we were hoping, that the song would create. So it's very impactful. Okay, deep breaths, everyone. And I also want to say it's really amazing to see our Jingle dress dancers showing up. Miigwech, for being here. These are our medicine dancers. Thank you for our healing dresses. Thank you for being here. And to see the sea of red, it feels good to be in community. I know we're all still a little scared, like, oh, I want to be here, and then I kind of don't want to be here, and I want to get close, but I don't. Like, thank you for being here, and I hope you all stay safe and healthy, and just miigwech for everything that you do in the community and for being here. So we're really lucky that in the state of Minnesota, not only do we have, representation in the governor's office, we also have amazing Native leadership in our representatives, in our senators. And so we're going to have a few of them speak today. So first, I'm going to ask Senator Mary Kunesh to join me. So Senator Kunesh was the author of the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force legislation. And I will let her share that story, but she has been a champion. She's been an advocate for us. And so I'm so grateful for her leadership, and she always shows up. And so I appreciate you so very much. Thank you for being here.
Everybody, I'm Senator Mary Kunesh. I descend from a long line of Standing Rock folks. I'm very proud of that heritage, and I'm especially proud of the fact that I have come to a place in our state government where we can make really positive change for our Indian nations. We are leading the nation in addressing the missing and murdered Indigenous women's and relatives and brothers and sons and our two-spirit trauma that has plagued us for generation after generation after generation. And when we think what we have been able to do together in community with all of you and across this state to address this historic violence, it is unbelievable. 5 years ago when I introduced that legislation, I never thought we would be able to do some of the things that we've been able to do, that we'd be able to put resources in the places that matter, where we'd be able to bring attention and make that difference in our nations. The educational part has been incredible, and we can't do it without all of you. The task force that we were able to put together was really written with the input and the approval of the community across this state. I put out the word, and you all came to it. And over there I see Nigel Perot. Nigel was one of the original folks that worked on the task force, and honestly, his leadership made that report as successful as it is. We can't thank them all enough. I think it's very important to recognize where we are right this minute on Dakota lands next to the mighty Mississippi. Imagine that was the water highway of our ancestors, up and down the Mississippi, meeting with their relatives, trading and in community with their own folks at the Grand Rapids down at the end that we are going to be reclaiming soon. And so I'm so very proud to be here with all of you, recognizing the fact that our elders are here. Thank you for your blessing this morning. And all of the young folks, and I think there are some that are going to be here any minute. I saw a young woman here pregnant, bringing new life into the world, bringing the new generation into the world, and that's why we do the work that we do. Again, not for ourselves right now, though that makes a difference for our children and our grandchildren, but for those next 7 generations. So, Shi Miigwech and Wopi Latanka to all of you, and for allowing me to be here in community with you. I do want to read the message from our Executive Director for the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Office. And let me remind you, this is a first in the nation office. First in the nation once again. Our Executive Director, as we said, is at an event up in Mille Lacs. And so she sent this. So Juliet is a mother of 5 children, a Kunshi grandmother of 11 grandchildren, and a daughter and a sister. MMIR is a personal issue to me. I have a cousin who's been missing since 2017, a cousin murdered with no justice, and a friend who lost his daughter to gun violence. She goes on to say, Ampetu Washte Buju. I'm Juliet Rudy, the new director of the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Office. I'm a tribal member of the Lower Sioux Indian community and a former 28-year public safety officer. I'm sorry I could not join you today. I'm at an event with the Mille Lacs Lake Band of Ojibwe, raising awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. The event will include the Red Dress Project, Red Sand Project, and a Woman's Healing Circle. The mission of the MMIR office is to seek justice for the victims and their families. I will promote the empowerment, and I think that's really the most important word here, empowerment, of Native American women and pursue safeguards for Native American women, relatives, and children. The programs and services will foster safety, equity, healing, civil and human rights of Indigenous peoples and community in Minnesota. The office will also help develop and implement future legislation and transformative social justice policies. Our next steps include hiring 3 additional staff in the coming weeks, establishing an advisory council, researching and developing an MMIR prevention program, reporting and response protocol for community and public safety. Thank you again for your support, and I look forward to working together to end violence against Indigenous people. Wopida Miigwech, thank you. That's the message from our executive director, and I know that with the work of all of us combined, we will make that historic difference. So thank you so much.
Miigwech. Next, I'm going to ask one of our newest Native women representatives, Representative Heather Keeler, who is an amazing woman. I've been in meetings with her with other non-Native service providers on there, and she has called people to the table with other state agencies, and she is really representing us well in government, and I'm so proud to have her here, and you know, you're always showing up, and you know, will text me and say, hey, what are we doing for this day? So Miigwech for being here. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. I want to start understanding and apologizing for the fact that I don't lead with language. I am a product of boarding schools through and through, so it is something that I am working on. My name is Heather Keeler. I represent District 4A, which is Moorhead. I tell everybody I'm the resident Indigenous queer legislator from Greater Minnesota. And we're needed, right? So I want to kind of share the story of how I even got here. 4 years ago, I sat in classrooms as a Native American liaison in the Moorhead School District because I absolutely love our kids. I love being an example for what our kids can be. And I remember sitting in the classroom telling my students when, at the time, Representative Kunish started talking about a murdered and missing Indigenous women's task force. And it was like this eye-opening moment that people in a system that was designed to exterminate us, which is the government, was actually talking about how to protect us. And it was a really eye-opening moment for me. And I asked my kids to get involved, and I talked to them over and over and over about there are issues that impact our communities through and through for generations. And I believe that happened because we weren't at the table making decisions. We weren't at the table educating our colleagues on why these things are important. And then Lieutenant Governor Flanagan ran, and I remember thinking like, wow, these women are so courageous. And I kept going back to my kids and saying, you all can grow up and do these things. And then my seat came open in my own community, and the words I had been using to my kids came back to me and said, Ms. Heather, you kept telling us like, you can be courageous, you can do these things. And a bunch of white men, like they do, step up and decided that they were going to run for that seat. And I decided it scares me to do this work, but it scares me more that when we're not at the table, what's happening to our children. it was challenging the entire way, but I know that the Creator put me here to use my voice in a powerful way. Every report card I had from kindergarten through 12th grade said Heather talks too much, and now I've decided to put that to good use. And so it's not only the bills that we're doing here. The number 4 is extremely powerful to me, and I think many of you, and we sit here with 4 powerful Indigenous women at the table. Jamie Becker, Finn, and I are in the House. Mary Kunish is in the Senate, and we have a lieutenant governor who is in the governor's office. So collectively, together, we're not only doing offense to make sure that we can set up things like this office. We're doing massive defense to make sure that these policies and systems don't continue to create us down a path of genocide. And I call that out all the time. This morning alone, we had almost 50 legislators, both House and Senate, have a legislators walk with us. And we called them up. And we called them up to understand that the 4 of us aren't always at those tables, that it is allyship that helps us protect our next generations. So we are here actively working. We sit and stand on the House and Senate floor and have really, really hard conversations to educate not only our other members, but the next generation to know that we are fighting for you. It is scary, and I cry a lot in this work, but I know that it is impactful for generations that we don't even know yet. One of the areas that we know is that as foster care, I'm a licensed ICWA home, and we're #1 in the nation for removal of our Indigenous kids. 17 to 1, y'all, 17 to 1. We have massive rates of homelessness and unsheltered youth in this state, and all of those things lead to vulnerable populations, which then we know impact us at greater rates when it comes to violence. So we are here doing the work, but we don't want to do this work alone. So continue to inspire the Indigenous groups in your community, the Indigenous leaders that you see, and ask them to step up. Ask them to join us in these spaces, because it is powerful when we come together and do this work. Thank you. Thank
you. So our next speaker needs really no introduction. So I have known Lieutenant Governor Flanagan for many years, since she was in, and I always tell this story because it's the first time I really got to know her values, and that she was always going to be there to step up for us as a community. Years ago, when she was on the Minneapolis school board, and we were having some issues, and there was sexual harassment of a Native girl in a school, and the school wasn't doing anything about it at the time. And so I emailed her, and she responded immediately, and was like, "What can I do?" And we had action. We had someone to know that we had someone who represented us, who could step in and respond immediately, showed me she was always going to be someone who's going to show up for us. And so I'm super honored to call her my sister. We're from the same tribe. And I'm so grateful for her leadership, all of her leadership, her many years of leadership to the community, the ways that she shows up, the powerful and sometimes quiet and sometimes not quiet ways that she shows up in community. But I'm very, very grateful and honored to have her here, and for all the ways that she shows up. So, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan.
Thank you, Nicole. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really honored and humbled to be here and to be able to spend some time with you and to be able to follow these amazing women who I have watched. I have watched on the floor with Senator and then Representative Kunesh, and have recently watched Representative Keeler stand up on the floor and tell the truth. In a moment where there are folks who are well-meaning, who want to ensure that, you know, everyone's viewpoints are heard, that also can be incredibly destructive. And she told the truth about why Indigenous Peoples Day, in its pure form, and people knowing who we are and where we come from, and that we have always been here, she told that truth. And we have your back. So that is what this is all about. That is what today is all about showing up and being visible. the words of that beautiful song were not just a picture of the past. We are here. And we're disrupting these systems every day. And I have to tell you, it weighs heavy on my heart to work in a system that has done so much harm to our people. But I also know that it is needed and necessary that we are there and that we are at those tables. When we think about the task force that was started, it might have felt like a long time, but being introduced and passed in 2019, getting the report, then creating the legislation to create the office, and now that is open and Julie Rudy is hiring staff, that is lightning speed within government. And that happens because Native women are at the table and we get the work done. So this week has been hard. Our body autonomy, our body sovereignty has been called into question. But I will tell you that I know we are ready. We are ready. We are building on the foundations of these successes. We will not go backwards. And we stand here in solidarity together. When I think about when these women walk into a room, all of the people who have loved them into existence come with them. When I tucked my kiddo in this week, she is 9, and she still lets me tuck her in and snuggle her in. Pretty soon she'll be like, "Get out of here, Mom," and we'll close the door, right? Or she'll still hold my hand in public. And when I tucked her in, I gave her a little kiss on her head, and I always say before she goes to sleep, "May the Creator bless you and keep you safe." And I thought about in that moment how we could live in a place where her future, where she is less safe than her mother or her grandmother, and that is unacceptable to me. And I know that it is unacceptable to you. So today may be a day of awareness, and we celebrate this day and we acknowledge this day. But every day we need to be seen and heard and valued and protected and believed. So we were made and loved into this moment. And I am honored and humbled to be your Lieutenant Governor, but more than anything, I am honored to be an Anishinaabe in this fight with all of you. And Nicole, thank you, Gitchimigwitch, for everything you do for all of us, for always creating spaces where we can feel welcome, for telling the truth, and for sharing the stories and making sure that those who we've lost or have gone missing will always be remembered. Thank you.
Miigwech. Deep breaths. So today is about remembering our relatives. It's about saying their names. It's about hearing their names. It's about remembering their stories. And I know all of us have a relative, have somebody that we have lost. So I'm going to give a moment to call out their names. And you can just start yelling it out. Go ahead. I know I've seen Delma Hardy over here. Yeah. Keep calling out their names.
They're strong.
day is for them. And this day is also so that we don't have any more. This day is to put an end. I'm going to ask the drum group to do an honor song.
Senator Kunish is going to come up and read a list of our murdered Indigenous relatives here. And then we will have an open mic if there's community or family that want to say a few words. Then we will have another song and invite our jingle dress dancers up. And we will have lunch, so don't leave, because we will have food. So,
All right, thank you for giving me this opportunity to say these names. This is a list of folks that have gone missing and murdered, and still the families don't have justice for that. And when I look at this list, the oldest person on this list is 81 years old. The youngest is 12. And it goes back to 1995. And my first thought is like, what about those before 1995? What about those loved ones, relatives that went missing or were murdered or experienced violence before 1995? And my thought is nobody was paying attention. No one was making that list of loved ones that went missing. And so I'd like to say these names. Maybe some of them are folks that you know or are your relatives. If I mispronounce a name, I apologize at this time, but I'll do my best. But I think it's really important that, just as before, when all of you shouted out your loved ones' names, that we recognize these people and know, so that they know that we are still working for them and to bring them the peace that they deserve. So I would like to keep in our mind and in our hearts Ian Reynolds, Nalia Hayes, Naomi Flores, Angelina Marie St. Germain, Ashton Fasthorse, Shaylin Nelson, Coda Thompson, Gizzy Ankawat Lagarde, Joylita Fasthorse, Christopher Servanek, Jakita Joanna Blue, Amelia Krulowski, Jackson Snide Joseph Moore, Kiera Monique Cachot, Amari Jones, Anna Leah Laurie Morris, Wanikia Titus Bernos, Andrew Victor Goosepears, Jaden Joseph Quincy, Zania Zamaya Ruiz, Navia Leigh Kingbird, Kyla Gillard, Jessica May Brunel, Letitia Sheree Jones, Leroy James Sam, Dylan James Junior Sam, Veronica Joan St. Clair, Leland Robert Sam, Carlos James Taylor, Travis Gordon Park, Devon Patrick Elvin Dunn, Richard George Byington Jr., Tyler Gunther Finday, Rihanna Alexis Williams, Andrea Dorr, Melissa Christina Burt, Derek John Shingob, Samantha Ray Blackbear, Louis Harold Londo III, Ezra Isaiah Patton Puyat, Timothy John Stone, Mateo Dow, Jeremy Leon Jourdain, Sheila Lou Sinclair, Melissa Dawn Eagleshield, Damon Lee Boyd, Michael David Anamita Jr., Robert Charles Sini, Jojo Boswell, Lawrence Joseph Marzinski, Charles Eugene Bush Jr., and Wilson Charles Sam. Keep these people in your hearts and your spirit, and just remember that they are not forgotten, and we will not forget you. Wopila.
Hear me? Or maybe I gotta get closer. All right, I want to give an opportunity if there are family members or community that want to say a few words. And Rory. So Rory showed up this morning. So Rory has been teaming up for years on art and along with our MMI-R, MMIW days. And so 9:30 showed up with, what, 6 teepees? Yeah. He was like, if we get this done by noon, it'll be a miracle. And it was done by noon. So shout out to Rory. Shout out to all the volunteers who helped to put these up, and to the artists that painted these beautiful banners that are incredible. So beautiful. So
thank you. Yeah, I think we've been working on this together for 6 years. In that time, and I always forget to wear my shirt. I always wear one. I just dirty.
I think orange is your color.
I think it is. But together we've printed 10,000 shirts and bandanas of that image on them. And like Flo made an image as well. She's back there for Anishinaabe Academy to do curriculum surrounding you are sacred, valuable, irreplaceable, and indispensable to kind of counteract some of the systemic issues and have a positive messaging curriculum. And then other artists that have branched off and done this as well. So we're well over 10,000 screen printed items.
Keep the mic back here.
Oh,
Thank you.
can you hear me now? Did you guys hear any of that before?
I wasn't sure if it was me or you.
It's breaking up too. Is it on?
yeah.
All right. All right.
Here, I'll
So
hold
then-
those and you talk.
Yeah, so we had thousands of these from last year. There's less than 1,000 left, and there's some there free. Take them home. And I had a trailer, but it got locked to my truck, and I couldn't drive both. So I do have a bunch to give away if folks want them. Please take them. Some there free, and then if you want some for your offices or whatever, swing by my studio or pick them up. Yes, and again, thank you for letting me be part of this. Oh, and also special thanks to Leasley. We have almost 8 teepees done now, hundreds of hours, and I probably only saw 10 hours of that. So Leasley's put a ton of work into these teepees, and then the artist Flow also helped paint a banner for Lena Miles. That isn't here right now, but yeah. So anyway, miigwech to everyone for helping out.
Yes, there are a lot more of those red dresses. So if you want 1 or 2 or 25, let Rory know. Come by and pick them up. He has been housing those in a storage locker for the last year. So yeah. You're welcome to take however many you'd like. I'm not seeing anybody who else who wanted to speak. So I'm wondering if we can invite our jingle dress dancers up, and maybe we could have a song with our dancers, with our jingle dress dancers.
Did you go to a side check?
Brett. Maybe we have someone who wants to come up and do share some more. All right. You need to put that out? Maybe. All right. Thank you.
Elizabeth Sky. Elizabeth Sky, Machiavelli. My name is Elizabeth Sky. Some of my relatives, I greet you with a good hand and heart. My spirit name is Walks a Beautifully Sacred Tree Woman. And I am about to be 25 years old. I just had my first daughter. Her name is Wamima Lalutawi. And yeah. It's been quite a changing year for all of us in the last few years. It's been a minute since I've shared my voice with my relatives at an event. I've been pretty isolated, so it's good to see everybody here coming together to, bring awareness and pray for our missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, Two-Spirit people. So this poem I wrote a few years ago, and it was, just a free write exercise that turned into a spoken word that I really wanted to. Thank you. That I really wanted to share. And I grew up as a quiet person, a young woman in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Oglala Lakota, Papa Lakota. And my mother grew up in Pine Ridge in a Sundance family. And, she's seen and experienced a lot of things that, our women, no woman should experience. And so, she was told to be seen, not heard as a child, and grew up quietly. And so now my voice is even bigger, So this poem is called, actually I don't remember what poem, but I'll just get started. You say my argument is that, excuse me. Your argument is that my words don't flow so very well. When in fact reality is you've never seen a fairy tale, yet you still believe in the unseen like life flutters by on a butterfly's wing. They're quick and insignificant beings, infinitesimal. Move forward a little bit. In respect to the inseparable relation of the First Nations placement in a white man's world, this is where assimilation displaced the spiritually awakened, taking people in places that can't be replacing. No compensation for the colonialist creations. And my grandmother's bones are still buried below your basement, cause they held no regard for things we held sacred. Wakian we are now double-faced, as Tate turns his cheeks to the bloodied city streets, and empty moccasins worn by our stolen sisters' feet lead to the red river of pity, prayers, and condolences. Empty promises keep feeding the hopelessness who hope for less death and breath that can fill our lungs. So despite genocide, our ancestors' songs can still be sung in the language of the moon and the sun, where the Star Nation punctuated the story of our creation, setting up the sky for the next generation to continue our efforts for decolonization. And so to all young kids, I tell them, indigenize your repression and alchemize your disdain. Turn your purposelessness into purposeful renditions of pain. Paint your purposes in lines that describe your own histories. Our culture is an unfinished puzzle, and you're the missing piece. Sis, many spirits have been lost in the desecration, famine, and diseases that spread just like the rumors of golden rivers and the word of Jesus. So please don't bless me when I sneeze, miss. I'm breathing out, dispersing seeds, sowing my roots in your garden forcibly. I'll harvest my crop, and I must say, it grew up gorgeously, just like little me. As my life's not a perfect story, nor is it ugly. I brewed up a pretty potion, sip on it humbly. Cause there's no love in me, it's inherently redundant. See, I was born with gifts and blessings of great abundance. It only makes sense that I'm sacred just like the Sundance. My steps are intentional, but you got lost without a compass. As your Oval Office's overindulgence of blood diamonds at the luncheons, serving feasts to conquistadors, condemning Indians to dungeons. Sorry. It's still going, but I forgot. It's a lot to remember.
Wow. That was beautiful. Powerful. I am going to ask you all to come and join the circle, and we'll do a round dance. Bring us all together. So please come and join us if you are able, have the ability. Representative Keeler said this was her favorite, so she's ready. doing a round dance.
Oh, yeah. That's everybody.
Yes, that's everybody. I'm gonna go put these mics down.
Oh, let's hand it. Anyways, thanks for joining us. We're here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Might as well. It'll be a round dance. Again, thanks for being here. We're in Minneapolis, Minnesota. MMIW-R, MMIW Day of Remembrance. I can see all the relatives of the community come out. We put up these TVs. This is the first thing we kind of did together, and now we're able to space together. We'll kind of round dance together. Let me see if I can get out of the way. Where is this going to go? Ah, sorry. That must be really disorientating.
Ready for another round dance? One more and then we will eat. We have one here and we will eat. So we will get ready to eat. I'm going to ask Linda to say a couple words for the food.
Good prayer. Yeah. It'll be okay.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the Creator. Thank you to every single person in this area. For those who wanted to come that couldn't. Also, for our ancestors who step present when we're here. Some of us are walking with grief and hardship, losses. Some of us are hopefully really happy. Some are struggling. But whatever it is that's going on in your life, you showed up today for our relatives. And for that, I say thank you. Thank you, Miigwech, Paramaya, Pinigigi, I think is how he says it. I also want to say the food is prepared. I wish you could hear the story behind the person who cooked with such love and care for each one of you. There is a story of healing and of wellness, and she has prepared that from her heart. So think of that, and you're eating for our people too, for those who couldn't be here, for those who have crossed over. And I just want to have to tell you a little bit. There's tea back there, and she's asked me to let people know that it's Cedar, and she said that women who are carrying children, babies, should not have that at this time. Just so you know that that's what's back there. But the food was prepared with love. Everything we're doing here is with love. It's not just our job. We do this because we love our people. Every single one of you showing up is because you love your people. And for that, I say thank you. Thank you for coming. We ask for blessings. I know already that lady that has prepared that, she has put all of her love in there since this morning and when we first talked to her. So thank you.
Miigwech. So we will eat. I would ask that we serve our elders first, or let our elders get in there to eat first. But please help yourself. We have lunch here. And miigwech to everyone for coming out today.
Oh, you want me to get you a plate? Yeah.
Nicole, can I ask you anything? But just can you kind of sum up what we did today at all on camera? Introduce yourself and what just happened.
Nicole Matthews. I'm the executive director of the Minnesota Indian Women Sexual Assault Coalition.
And what was today's event about, or what is it about?
So it was about, it was to honor our missing and murdered Indigenous relatives, to raise awareness, to remember our relatives who have gone, and to always, make sure we're telling their stories and saying their names, and that we're always also calling for justice, and for our policymakers and our legislators to always remember us when they are, making laws and policies that impact our communities.
Do you think, I know there's like an MMIW task force that started?
Yes.
Do you think, would Mary want to talk to that, or would you?
Maybe we both could.
Yeah, if you want to bring them all over here. So there's a lot of, I was talking to the internet, sorry. Again, this is Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media. We're going to get a few interviews here so you can hear about the MMIW task force that's here in Minnesota, the work that's got into it, and been going on nationwide. Hi! Sorry. If you want to introduce yourself and just let us know about what's been going on. There's a lot of work going on around the MMIW task force, so just let us know.
Sure. I'm State Senator Mary Kunish. I am a descendant of the Standing Rock Nation, and I'm a senator here in Minnesota, the first female woman Native senator that we've ever had here. I'm also the author of the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force, and I'm really proud of the product that we were able to put out. It acts as our roadmap for future legislation and the process that we're doing. The number one recommendation that came out of that task force was to create a permanent office to address the violence against our relatives, and we did that last year in session. We have our executive director, Juliette Rudy,
I'm going to rotate around you, but we're going to have this in the background. Go ahead. Executive Director, you're saying?
Yep, we have our Executive Director, Juliet Rudy, who's in place now. She's going out in community, having conversation, assessing how she thinks it's best to set this up, and will be actually adding at least 3 more staff members to the group. And so we continue to do the work around data collection and sharing within the legislature, agencies, and commissions. We continue to address healthcare issues specifically that affect our Native communities and educational issues. But one of the really exciting things that I think is going to happen in Minnesota this session is that we will create a reward pool to address and to finance looking into the cold cases. I listed off over 50 folks that are on our list just a while ago. Those are the families that don't have answers to their missing loved ones. And so the fund would allow for individuals, organizations, nonprofit, tribes to donate to that fund that would be able to help our families. But also, we're hoping to create a specialty license plate here in Minnesota that addresses specifically our missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. And while I didn't think that was something that would really happen, it's actually moving through our legislature, and I think we're going to have success with that. So in a year's time, Minnesota should have a lot of MMIR cars driving around to educate us and bring awareness to the issue.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I don't know if you want to talk anymore. I know the evolution of MMIW, and there was like MMI-R now. I don't know if you want to unpack that a little bit.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that.
Yep.
So initially, let's say 5 years or so ago, when I started the work to address the violence and the missing family members and relatives, it was called the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, mostly because women are the highest victims of violence and murder. But as we all know, it was not just specific to women and girls, but also boys and men and our Two-Spirit communities. So as we have been working through this whole process, recognizing that it's not just a specific to one gender, we have created the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives acronym, shall we say, to encompass all of our relatives, all of those that have fallen victim to this historically and through the generations.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And then I know has there been a lot more people reaching out about the task force? Because I know that you've been talking about how people have reached out to your office.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is so interesting because there is hardly a day that somebody does not reach out to my office to say, how can I help? How can we learn more about this? But also families who have members that have gone missing, and they want to know if this office is going to be able to help them. Fortunately, because there is such a strong interest, especially in Minnesota, I've been able to go around our state and actually do introductory seminars and discussions around this pandemic of MMI-R, but also to legislators both in Canada and in the Midwest so that they can understand how important it is that we're addressing this. Hopefully they will also absorb some of the legislation that we're doing here in Minnesota so that we're all working in the same way, in the same direction, using the same guidelines. And so that's my hope in the future.
Great. Thank you so much for talking to me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, you take care. Is it 1 second? Or yeah, this side.
Yep.
You good? Yeah. So I'm going to walk around and show you all the teepees, and then we'll probably take this feed down. We're going to go get a fed. We'll take the internet feed down, and then we're going to go... I don't know the makers of each of these teepees. Let me see if I can find somebody who might know. So I don't. So that's the end of this. I'll be down in like 5 minutes. I think we'll be live. 5 minutes longer. Just look at all these. So these are all just put up. If you go into like my personal feed, you can see this being built, and hopefully we'll get a few time lapses up of these being put up. This is Boom Island Park in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Here, anybody else? Patty bag?
This one says, "Don't forget about us." Find us.
Okay.
Don't forget about us. There's a little teepee over there. We got this one's. We gotta lean to it.
I'm starting to interview a lot of different people. Look at that.
I missed the whole song. Alright everybody, I think I'm gonna call this the live feed done. You can see everyone's kind of just hanging out. We're gonna be together in community, eat together, hold this space together. You heard to eat for our relatives. Remember our relatives and make sure they're not forgotten. Thanks so much for being here, guys. My name is Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media. I don't know if I can even aim this at myself. Probably not. I won't do it. Anyways, Director of Tactical Media at the NDN Collective. I'm Chicanx. My pronouns are they, them. It's also Cinco de Mayo. Just want to send some respect to all the raza out there. Anyways, we are going to take this feed down. But thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, follow, and share our content. And go check out NDNcollective.org and our stories. We have a lot going on, a lot of grants going on, a lot of different events, ongoing boycott in Rapid City. If you want to read about it, check it out. Go to NDNcollective.org. And you can also scroll through our feeds, check out the different content, sign up for our newsletter. And we'll see you next time. Again, we just wanted to be up here to uplift this day, this event, and let's hear these speakers together. So thanks for sharing time with me, and we'll see you later on.